The removal of the Cherokees from Georgia took several years. Some people left voluntarily for Indian Territory, which is now the state of Oklahoma. But most Cherokees waited, hoping somehow to keep possession of their land. What happened to them is one of the darkest chapters in the history of Georgia. It is called the Trail of Tears. In 1838, United States soldiers were sent to round up the Cherokees and move them across the Mississippi River to Indian Territory. General Winfield Scott was in command.
Cherokees, the President of the United States has sent me with a powerful army to cause you, in obedience, to join that part of your people who are already established in prosperity on the other side of the Mississippi.
And to those who might fight back, he warned.
Think of this, my Cherokee brethren. I am an old warrior and have been present at many a scene of slaughter, but spare me, I beseech you, the horror of witnessing the destruction of the Cherokees.
When the soldiers arrived, Mavis Doering's grandmother was there and told her what happened.
She said that the soldiers came and said, "It's time for you to go." So they were only allowed to leave with the clothing they had on their backs. They couldn't take anything with them on this trip. And she said that after they had walked a good part of the day, they were going uphill, that they looked back and they could see their homes down in the valley. And she said that they could see their animals standing in the yard, see their homes. So it was a sad experience, a traumatic experience for all of them.
For Ramona Bear Taylor, the words to describe that time come slowly and painfully.
There was so much I guess harsh treatment that was done to our people when they were forced out of their homelands and put into stockades.
After they were rounded up, the Cherokees were held in stockades that were like concentration camps, and then they began to march west. Some took a river route, but most traveled by land, almost 1,000 miles to Indian Territory, to what we now call Oklahoma. It was a long, difficult journey, especially for the very old and the very young.
If there was a woman that had a baby, that she was carrying a baby that died, there was illness along the way. And if the baby died, she would have to carry it the rest of the day. They didn't allow her to stop to bury it. But at night, my grandmother said that you could hear people digging graves every night, and they would bury the people that had died along the way, and then they would get to bury those babies. And that since it was October when they started, and it got to be winter along the way, that their feet, the moccasins, wore out, and then because of the ice on the ground and snow, that their feet would freeze and burst and leave bloody footprints all along the way.
As the journey continued, there were a number of people who died from exposure, from starvation, from lack of medical attention. It was a miserable time to be alive. The people were completely without hope. But it was also said that the medicine people were the people who were able to keep the spirit up of the people as they moved along.
They sang this song on the journey west, asking for God's protection through the dark days and long nights. In English, it's called Guide Me, Jehovah, or simply the Trail of Tears song. It took nearly 4 months to reach Indian Territory. 15,000 people started out. 4,000 of them, over 1/4 of them, died on the trail. They died of the cold, of starvation, of disease, and perhaps some died of a broken heart. But they are not forgotten, and in Oklahoma, both the Cherokee and the Creek nations survive.
to find that it was only 4 generations ago and that we remember their names and that we honor them and that we name our children names that these people had when they were still here in Georgia and Alabama. So those names live on. We never forgot any of that.
They say that that the eternal flame or the sacred fire that our people have, as long as the fire burns, the Cherokee people will survive, and that fire is still burning today.
Well, there are still a lot of places left to see in this state, and there are still a lot of people I'd like you to meet. This is Georgia Stories. I'm Colin Sedor. Thanks.